Look, if we're all being honest here, we can just acknowledge that one of the things that we really liked about this draft class was that there's character. Pretty much every pick. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Coming up this weekend will be the rookie mini camp that the Steelers hold every year at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex on the south side. I'll be there covering it for DK Pittsburgh Sports. It's a wonderful thing for reporters. Can I just throw that in first? The access is excellent. There are only a handful of players that you're looking to interview out of all the guys that are there, but there's also some undrafted free agents and other interesting stories to be had. But, you know, it's the entire draft class in a pretty relaxed setting. It's really, really good time. I'm looking forward to sharing with you not only my observations of how the camp goes, but also, you know, feedback from these guys. And believe you me, one of the things I'm going to bring up with them is something I'm going to bring up with the veterans at the first possibility. And that's this. What does it take to establish character on an NFL team in 2024? Let's be real here. That's not as automatic as it used to be, and that's not me yelling at kids to get off my lawn. It's just a fact. And it goes double for whatever reason at the wide receiver position, though it's hardly exclusive to that. And when you go from Troy Fautanu down, you're not going to find so much as the slightest blemish on anyone's personality, background, how they carry themselves, how much they want the football and are going to pout about it. None of that. Heck, the wide receiver in the class, Roman Wilson, comes across as a born leader type. Hey, he's got a little bit of a hot-headedness to him in terms of his temperament, in terms of his compete level. But when you're talking about how one conducts their business, he's just fine. And not to pick on George Pickens relentlessly on this subject, but George isn't, okay? And no one has to wonder about that because the Steelers themselves will say it by making blanket statements such as, well, we need so-and-so to, you know, lead the way for George or to be his guide. Or what are you actually saying? You're saying, you know, he's not nearly mature enough to do that himself. But here comes this class of kids. And also, dovetail that with the following. This past season, and you'll recall it, Najee Harris had some very strong remarks about things that the Steelers need to be doing to improve their overall culture. He seemed to lay some of that at the coaches, although he didn't explicitly call anybody out. But he wasn't talking about schematics. He wasn't talking about X's and O's. And those of us who cover the team would know the difference because he did plenty of that at other points. He was talking about just simple discipline issues. Simple get motivated, get in the weight room, get watching video, get to doing your work kind of stuff. Now, if you're a regular listener of this show, you're going to know that I haven't invested a whole lot of time or energy into culture issues. I happen to feel that they're mostly overblown in the NFL and that they've been badly overblown in the very recent past regarding the Steelers. However, they do exist, and it can be better. And when someone who is as influential within that locker room as Najee speaks up about it, it doesn't just go away because they ran the ball well over the final month of the schedule. So within that, wouldn't it be wonderful if this rookie minicamp, in its own small, somewhat removed way, would serve as sort of a launch point for Mike Tomlin to hit a great big figurative reset button in this regard? Could even come up with one of those corny sounding football phrases, all business, we're all business, and then make sure that everybody's repeating it in all their interviews. You know what I'm talking about. That happens from time to time. Use all business and let everyone understand that this is the way it's going to be around here. We don't care what you ever heard about Chase Claypool or going back to Antonio Brown or Juju Smith-Schuster and his social media hijinks and everything else. Exercise it from your mind. It's going to be as if it never happened. Want to know one of my favorite scenes from this whole recent draft thing? Fautanu showed up at the Steelers locker room at Acrisure Stadium. It was part of his general tour. They took him around town, took him up to Mount Washington, all the other requisite sights and scenes. And when he got to that locker room, right at the door, waiting for him, was Ike Taylor. Ike Taylor is someone you want on your side when it comes to culture. Ike's a Steeler. Ike's a Steeler to the depths of his soul. One sight that I will never forget was in that locker room when it looked like Ike might have played his last game. And Tomlin noticed this from across the room, walked over to him, bent over, and just gave him a big kiss on the forehead to show his appreciation, presumably for everything, for the entire career. A true Steeler. You want to learn? Learn from someone like that. Learn from Troy Polamalu. Learn from James Ferrier. Learn from Brett Kiesel. Learn from Marquise Pouncey. And I don't know what the plans are for this coming weekend in that capacity. I don't know if they're going to have veterans or guests all over the place. And you know what? Even if they do, that's not something that's necessarily going to be visible to reporters. It's something that most commonly would occur in classroom settings as opposed to out on the field where we'll be. But I sure hope it does. I sure hope that there's even more than what's occurred already. This is a great time to do it. All new quarterbacks, a new offensive coordinator, a lot of young guys, especially on the offense. Set that bar now and you don't have to worry about complaining about it in mid-season. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George. LGKG is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents people hurt in car accidents or who need help with workers' comp or medical malpractice. When the attorneys at LGKG make you a promise, they keep it. They've been keeping promises in our region for over 80 years. LGKG's been AV rated, the highest rating a law firm can receive, and they've been designated super lawyers. That's actually a thing for over 15 years. It's a rare combination. LGKG has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them by visiting lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. LGKG. Today's J1Q comes from Anil, and it's in regards to this past Friday's Daily Shot, which was about Najee Harris not having his fifth-year option taken and why that didn't really bother me. Anil writes, "Hi, DK, respectfully disagree that the Steelers really value Najee. It's a no-brainer to use that fifth-year option. You then have Najee for 2 years under $10 million. By declining the option, I see no way after this year to keep him. If he has a great season, he gets priced out. If he has an average season, there's no reason to keep him. I think this reflects more on the analytical philosophy of Omar Khan and Andy Weidel. They're not going to pay for the disastrous Kevin Colbert, Mike Tomlin first-round blunders of the past few years." Man, this Omar versus Colbert thing is worth an episode unto itself. This is really getting out of hand. It's okay to say Omar did a good job or that he and Weidel are having good drafts. But when you take it like Anil just did here, and you make sure to only mention Tomlin's name in the second part of that equation, as if Tomlin wasn't involved in the two most recent drafts, principally involved, I might add. Wow. It's okay to just say you like Omar without burying everybody before him. As far as Najee goes, Anil, the scenario that you left out, you said it's going to be, by declining the option, I see no way after this year to keep him. I'm saying, as I did on this past episode, and judging by the feedback I got, not very many people heard this very clearly, so I'm going to try it again, this time in all capital letters. My expectation and what I have heard is that the Steelers will attempt to sign Najee to a longer-term contract this summer, at which point this fifth-year option doesn't matter at all. They can guarantee Najee a third year, and he could end up with more guaranteed money, and he'd be that much happier because, contrary to the scenario that you set up there, he's not going to price himself out of anywhere because running backs aren't getting paid anywhere. So once more, pretend I already had the capital letters on, but now I've added like red neon around the letters and underline and all kinds of fireworks in the background. Their hope is to sign him this summer. Okay? That's the word that I'm getting. I get no such word regarding Justin Fields, but I do get that regarding Najee. So we'll see where it goes. I'm not making a prediction. I'm sharing with you the information that's been relayed to me. We'll see. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Be back with another one tomorrow.